Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, Harbaugh is close to a decision. I think we're within a week to 10 days at most, but he's got another meeting with the Chargers. We're going to talk about that. Also, FSU, of course, has been countersued. That suit's been amended, and it's getting rough. When you read this amendment, and I'll show you the important parts of it, it's getting real rough between the ACC and FSU.
Okay, all right, we got served. So now, I guess, it's on.
Oh yeah, it's on. And this is all over the news. Harbaugh and the Chargers are expected to meet again. Said he's expected to meet with the Los Angeles Chargers this week for a second interview to be the team's next head coach. According to Adam Schefter, says they've been linked since owner Dean Spanos fired former coach Brandon Staley. And also the Atlanta Falcons have scheduled a second interview with Harbaugh. So we could have two teams fighting over him. Harbaugh is considered one of the most desirable candidates. He just came off a national title. And the guy won big at San Francisco, actually went to the Super Bowl. So he's been successful everywhere he's gone. And the Raiders had an opportunity to hire him, but they were too foolish to do so. And Harbaugh is the Chargers' first candidate known to have scheduled a second interview. The Chargers really want him. And my understanding is he doesn't want to be the GM, but what he does want is control of the offense completely. And that also means the players that are going to be available on offense, meaning recruiting, free agency, all that stuff. He wants control of the offense. And they've got that great quarterback, Herbert, there, so I think he's pretty fired up about that. So I think he's leaning towards the Chargers. Now, Michigan's trying to keep him, obviously, and who knows? I think he should stay. I really do. I've told you my thought on that he should stay, take the NCAA punishment. It'll probably be no more than 1 year for him. They'll have some scholarship reductions. That's going to happen either way. Pay the fine and move on. And even if it takes a year, we'll just go on a congratulations tour for a year. You can go all over Michigan and everybody's going to buy you dinner, buy you a drink, and he can still coach the guys during the week, I believe. That's what I think he should do, but I don't think he will. I don't think he wants to fool with the NCAA. I don't think he has the mindset for it. I think he'll tell them off. I really do. I think he'll flip out on them.
It's got to be America's team.
He's not going to deal with those hall monitors. They're going to come in and act like every little thing is the most important thing that's ever happened, and he's just going to flip out. So anyway, we'll see how this plays out, but we're going to get an answer fairly soon because these NFL teams, they don't go forever on a search. They'll pull the trigger pretty soon. And why this matters so much, especially as a VOLS fan, if he does go to the Chargers, that means Michigan, every player on their team's available for 30 days, and they're probably going to hire a head coach with head coaching experience. They might go with their offensive coordinator, but they may want a guy with experience. And Brian Kelly is somebody that has been mentioned as a possible replacement for Harbaugh, and I think Brian Kelly would be very interested in that. If that happens, the dominoes are going to be intense because having all of LSU's players available for 30 days would be massive. It would be almost as big as Alabama, and we just went through that, and it's not even done.
It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
It could get very interesting very quickly, and these coaching searches and things like this, man, they can happen before you even know it. Next thing you know, I mean, do you remember when Notre Dame lost Brian Kelly to LSU? That happened, and nobody had a clue it was going to happen. So this could happen, and it could affect every team in the SEC because LSU's loaded with talent. And they're not going to appreciate their coach leaving, and then LSU would have to find a coach. And then more pieces fall, more dominoes. So that's why it's so important. Now let's talk about FSU, and the ACC amended their countersuit. And here it goes into where they amended their lawsuit. It says the ACC has alleged the school committed serial breaches of critical legal promises and obligations. It says, per the Associated Press, the ACC is also alleging that Florida State disclosed trade secrets between the league and ESPN. Now, if you'll remember, a lot of this got really rolling when they got creaked out of the college football playoff, and they were undefeated. And this didn't go over well at Florida State, to say the least. And they actually held an emergency meeting right before Christmas and decided to sue. And the ACC got wind of it, and they actually filed a suit in North Carolina right before Florida State did because they wanted it to be held in North Carolina, not in Florida, for obvious reasons. And this has been a real mess. And every national media type's been involved in it. And Kirk Herbstreit talked about the despicable lunatic fringe that were freaking out about the college football playoff. I don't think it was the fringe. I think a lot of the folks felt that way. And then Cole Kubelak called it laughable, which, I mean, you're talking about getting on the bad side of folks. And then Feinbaum called it fake outrage by FSU. So it got ugly. And then Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody even threatened a lawsuit against the college football playoff and was allowed to have up to $1 million for that lawsuit. So, I mean, this has been boiling in Florida. And it talks about how they both filed separate litigation because Florida State's challenging the grant of rights, which are insane how much money it is. And it says the ACC's amended complaint is not only seeking to deem the grant of rights irrevocable, but also includes an allegation that Florida State committed a breach of duty as a league member and may need to be excluded from ACC business. So in other words, they're stuck there and they don't have any say at all. This is getting ugly, very ugly. Can you imagine being a part of something where it's costing you $30 million a year that you could be making elsewhere and you have no say, you have no vote, no nothing?
I want him! I thought you said be cool. That was cool.
I mean, this couldn't be uglier. They're also contending the violation of confidentiality about their ESPN deal. And here we'll go through the major steps. It says the conference could recover damages from Florida State for the breach of its obligation to maintain the confidentiality of the ESPN agreements in an amount to be determined, but which the conference reasonably believes will be substantial. They're asking for the court to issue a permanent injunction barring Florida State from disclosing information from the ESPN agreements. They want the court to issue a permanent injunction barring Florida State from participating in the management of the affairs of the conference while it has direct and material conflict with the conference. That's the one that I can't get over. Imagine just having zero say. That's just, I guess they're basically saying, look, they're a poison pill. They need to be sat over in the corner until they've learned how to act. I'm sure Florida State will appreciate that. Then they want the conference to recover damages from its breach in an amount to be proven at trial, but which the conference believes will be a lot. Now realize several of these schools have met Florida State, Clemson, and others about exiting the ACC because they're not getting anywhere near as much money. The SEC is getting almost 3 times as much money per team, and so is the Big Ten. And this is driving them crazy, and this is through 2036. If you add it all up, it's going to be close to $500 million a school as compared to what the SEC or the Big Ten is going to get per school. It's a ton of money, and that's why they're so upset. They feel like the ACC has cut bad deals, and they're way too long-term. The ACC is saying, hey, we cut the deals. You should have said something back then. You're stuck.
Are you sure?
It says Florida State escalated things in August when its Board of Trustees met to discuss their dissatisfaction. But what really made it blow up was the exclusion of the college football playoff. That was horrible. And that just added steroids to the whole situation. It really made it blow up. And you can thank the ACC and 2 other conference commissioners that formed an alliance to block moving to 12 teams, which was supposed to happen in 2023, which Greg Sankey really wanted to happen. Of course, Florida State would have been in the playoff even without their quarterback, and there wouldn't have been much to complain about. But because the alliance said, no, there can only be 4 teams, which totally blew up in their face, I call them the Three Stooges. That really added fuel to the fire. And it talks about how they had a perfect 13-0 season, won their conference championship game. It says that snub, which occurred after the Seminoles had such a great year, was the last straw after a year spent voicing their displeasure with the conference. It says along with the grant of rights, Florida State would be required to pay a steep exit fee based on its current agreement. And you can see right here, Pete Nako shows this. It's over $500 million they want. And this all changed in 2011. They went from a $21 million penalty for leaving. Now it's up to $500 million, $572 million.
You serious?
A big chunk of it's an exit fee of like $120 million. Then the grant of rights adds almost $500 million. So it's a heck of a mess. And I'm going to be following this. This is one of the most intriguing things because if they're allowed to exit, you know what's going to happen. Every other team that wants to leave, like Clemson or Miami, et cetera, North Carolina, they're going to use that blueprint to exit the ACC, and the ACC will probably implode. And the SEC will pick up teams. Big Ten will pick up teams. I mean, it'll be another, we're talking about dominoes again. And we just saw what happened out west. So don't think it can't happen. We might end up with 3 conferences. And a lot of people think we're going to end up with just 2 when it's all said and done, 2 huge ones, which would be Big Ten, SEC. So I'm going to keep watching this because it's incredibly intriguing. Because this will impact every team in the country. If these 2 things happen, Jim Harbaugh leaves, and also if Florida State's allowed to leave, wow. If you don't think your team's going to be affected, it's going to be something. You just saw what happened with Nick Saban leaving. Every team got affected. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me continue to cover all these big news stories, of course, my VOLS, the SEC. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Hit this little button. It'll help you get my videos, and it won't cost you a dime. It'll help me out, too. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.